Jake Collins had been hauling cargo through space for 3 years now. It was not the life he had planned, but it paid the bills. His small ship, the Mercury Runner, carried supplies to mining colonies in the outer regions. Most days were boring. He would set the ship on course, check the systems, and wait for hours until the next destination appeared on his screen. This day started like any other. Jake was drinking his morning coffee when the ship's computer beeped. He looked at the screen and saw a message. It was a distress signal. Jake leaned forward in his chair. Distress signals were rare out here. Most ships had good emergency systems. If someone was calling for help, things were really bad. The computer voice spoke. It was calm and emotionless as always. The signal is coming from coordinates 300 kilometers ahead. The ship design is unknown. No match in our database, Jake frowned. Unknown design meant it was not human. In all his years of hauling cargo, he had never seen an alien ship. Nobody had. Earth had sent probes to distant stars, but they had never found any sign of intelligent life. Until now, maybe? He should report this. That was the proper thing to do. Call it in to the authorities and let them handle it. But the nearest station was 2 days away. If someone needed help right now, they would be dead before anyone arrived. Jake had been a combat medic before he became a cargo hauler. He had taken an oath once. To help people. To save lives when he could. The computer spoke again. I recommend we maintain our current course. The unknown vessel could be dangerous. There is a 73% chance this is a trap. Jake set down his coffee cup. Change course. Take us to those coordinates, maximum speed. The computer was silent for a moment. Then it replied. Course changed. We will arrive in 12 minutes. Those 12 minutes felt like hours. Jake prepared his medical kit and put on his spacesuit. He checked his oxygen levels twice. When the Mercury Runner finally slowed down, Jake looked out the window and caught his breath. The alien ship was beautiful. It had smooth curves and a surface that seemed to glow with a soft silver light. Strange symbols covered its hull. They looked like writing, but not any language Jake had ever seen. The ship was about the same size as his own, but it was clearly damaged. A large hole had been torn in one side. Gas and debris floated around it in the darkness of space. Jake guided his ship closer. He could see energy sparking from the damaged section. Whatever power source the alien ship used, it was failing fast. He found an intact airlock and connected a docking tube. His hands shook as he worked. This was really happening. He was about to board an alien ship. The airlock opened with a hiss. Jake stepped inside. The air was thin but breathable. He kept his helmet on anyway. The interior of the ship was dark. His flashlight beam cut through the shadows. Everything looked strange. The walls had a texture he could not describe. The control panels glowed with symbols that hurt his eyes to look at. He found her in what looked like a medical bay. She was lying on a raised platform, and Jake's first thought was that she looked human. Almost. Her skin had a faint glow to it, like moonlight on water. Her hair was long and silver, but it was her eyes that made Jake realize she was not human. They were open, staring at the ceiling, and they looked like someone had trapped entire galaxies inside them. Stars seemed to swirl in those eyes. She was dying. Jake did not need his medical training to see that. Her breathing was fast and shallow. Her skin was losing its glow, turning gray. There were wounds on her side, deep cuts that leaked a fluid that looked like blood but shimmered with blue light. Her eyes moved to look at him. She tried to speak. The words were soft, musical, but Jake could not understand them. Her hand reached out toward him. It was shaking. Jake knelt beside her. His medical scanner showed readings he had never seen before. Her heart rate was too fast. Her blood pressure was too low. She was in shock. But everything else on the scanner made no sense. Her body chemistry was completely different from a human. She tried to stop the bleeding, but nothing worked. Human bandages would not stick to her glowing skin. The medical foam he sprayed on the wounds just slid off. She was losing too much blood, or whatever that blue fluid was. She needed a transfusion. But Jake had no idea what her blood type was. He had no compatible supply. He had nothing that could save her. The alien woman grabbed his arm. Her grip was weak but desperate. She said something again. This time Jake heard the fear in her voice. She knew she was dying. She was begging for help. Jake made a decision. It was crazy. It probably would not work. It might even kill her faster, but doing nothing would definitely kill her. He had maybe 10 minutes before she was gone. He opened his medical kit and pulled out a transfusion set. His hands moved fast. He had done this procedure 100 times during the war, but never like this. He inserted a needle into his own arm and another into hers. Her skin was cool to the touch. The needle slid in easily. Jake watched his blood flow through the tube. Red human blood mixing with the blue shimmer of whatever she had in her veins. This was insane. Their bodies were completely different. This could not possibly work. His blood might poison her, or her blood might poison him. But he had to try. The pain hit him like a hammer. It started in his arm and spread through his whole body. It felt like his blood was on fire. Jake gasped and almost pulled the needle out. But the alien woman's eyes were fixed on his face. They were filled with something that looked like hope. He gritted his teeth and kept the connection. The pain got worse. His vision blurred. He could feel his heart beating too fast. The ship around him seemed to spin. But he did not let go. He had saved people before. He had pulled wounded soldiers from burning vehicles. He had performed surgery in the middle of battles. He could handle pain, the woman. His breathing started to slow down. For a terrible moment, Jake thought she was dying. But then he realized her breathing was becoming more regular, more normal. The grayness was leaving her skin. The glow was coming back. Her wounds were closing, not healing completely, but the bleeding had stopped. Jake felt dizzy. He had given too much blood. He knew that. But it was working. Somehow, impossibly, it was working. His blood was saving her life. Her hand closed around his. This time her grip was stronger. She whispered something. Jake did not know the words, but he understood the meaning. "Thank you." The room tilted sideways. Jake tried to stand, but his legs would not work. He fell to the floor. The last thing he saw before darkness took him was the alien woman sitting up. Her eyes were bright again, filled with stars. She was reaching toward him, then everything went black. Jake's last thought was that he hoped his crazy idea had been enough. He hoped she would live. Even if it cost him his own life, at least he had tried to save someone. That was all that mattered. Jake woke up slowly. His head hurt. His whole body felt weak. He tried to open his eyes, but the light was too bright. He groaned and turned his head to the side. Someone touched his hand. A voice spoke in perfect English. "You are safe, please rest." Jake forced his eyes open. He was lying in a bed. The room around him was white and clean. Medical equipment stood nearby, but it looked nothing like the machine she knew. Everything glowed softly. The air smelled like flowers he could not name. The alien woman stood beside his bed. She was not glowing anymore, but her skin still had a strange quality to it, like she was made of light that had learned to be solid. She wore a long silver robe. Her galaxy eyes looked at him with concern. "Where am I?" Jake asked. His voice came out rough. "How long was I out?" "You are on my home world," she said. "You have been sleeping for 3 days. We brought you here after you saved my life. My name is Lyra. I am a princess of the Valorn people." Jake sat up too fast. His head spun. 3 days. 3 days gone. His ship. His cargo. He had contracts to fulfill. Companies that would fine him for being late. But none of that seemed important now. He was on an alien planet. He had made first contact with another species. The whole world needed to know about this. "I need to contact Earth," Jake said. "They need to know about you, about your people, Lyra." His face grew serious. "We will discuss that soon. But first, you must understand what you have done. What you did was not just save my life. You changed everything." Before Jake could ask what she meant, the door opened. 3 more aliens entered the room. They looked similar to Lyra, but older. They wore long robes of different colors. One was blue, one was green, and one was gold. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were intense. They stared at Jake like he was the most interesting thing in the universe. The one in the gold robe spoke. "We are the royal physicians. We have studied your body while you recovered. With your permission, we would like to explain what we found." Jake nodded. He was not sure he liked the idea of aliens studying him while he slept, but he needed answers. The physician in blue stepped forward. He held up a small device. It showed images that looked like medical scans. "You must understand something about the Valorn people. Our bodies require a special compound to live. We call it essence. Without it, we die. Every Valorn produces this compound naturally, but some produce more than others." The green physician continued. "We have explored this galaxy for millions of years. We have found thousands of worlds with life, hundreds with intelligent species, but never, not once, have we found another race that produces essence. Until now, Jake felt cold. Your blood, the gold physician said. Human blood contains essence, not just any essence, a pure form, stronger than anything we can produce ourselves. When you gave your blood to Princess Lyra, you did not just save her life. You made her stronger than any Valorn has been in thousands of years. Lyra walked to the window. She raised her hand and pointed at a plant in a pot. Jake watched as the plant began to grow. New leaves sprouted. Flowers bloomed. In seconds, the small plant became a bush covered in bright blue flowers. I could not do that before, Lyra said quietly. I was weak. Many in the royal family wanted me removed from the line of succession because of my weakness. But your blood changed me. Now I can do things that only the greatest of our ancient ancestors could do. Jake, his mind raced. This was huge. This was bigger than first contact. This was a biological compatibility that should not exist. Humans and aliens from different worlds should have nothing in common, yet somehow their blood worked together. More than worked. It made the aliens stronger. Why? Jake asked. How is this possible? Our species evolved on different planets. We should not be compatible at all. The physicians looked at each other. That is a question we cannot answer, the blue one said. But we have theories. Perhaps long ago a species seeded both our worlds. Perhaps there is a connection we do not yet understand. What we do know is this. The Valorn people are dying. Jake looked at Lyra. She nodded. It is true. Our production of essence has been declining for centuries. Each generation is weaker than the last. We have tried everything, science, medicine, nothing works. In a few thousand years our species will go extinct. And now you find humans, Jake said slowly. You find a species that can make this essence stuff better than you can. Yes, Lyra said. She turned from the window. Her face was sad. You understand now why this changes everything. Why we cannot simply let you return to Earth and tell everyone about us. There are factions in my government who would want to use your people to take what we need. Jake stood up. His legs were shaky, but he stayed on his feet. You mean they would want to take our blood by force, use humans like cattle, like some kind of resource to harvest? Some would, yes, the gold physician said. Others would argue for a more peaceful approach. But you must understand, our entire civilization is at stake. We have billions of people who want to live, who want their children to live. When survival is at stake, people do terrible things. Jake felt sick. He had saved one alien, his life, and now his entire species was in danger. Earth had no idea aliens even existed. They had no defenses against a civilization that had traveled the stars for millions of years. If the Valorn wanted to take what they needed, humans would not be able to stop them. What happens now? Jake asked. Lyra walked over to him. She looked into his eyes. My father, the Emperor, has called a meeting of the High Council. They will decide what to do about humanity. About you, I will speak for you. I will argue that humans deserve to be treated with respect. But I cannot promise what the council will decide. How long do I have? Jake asked. The meeting is tomorrow, Lyra said. Until then, you are my guest. You will be protected. You have my word on that. The physicians bowed and left the room. Lyra stayed. She looked at Jake with those strange, beautiful eyes. I am sorry, she said. You saved my life out of kindness. You did not know what it would mean, what danger it would put your people in. Jake sat back down on the bed. I would do it again, he said. I could not just let you be. That is not who I am. But now I need to figure out how to protect my people, how to make sure this ends well for everyone. Lyra smiled. It was a small, sad smile. You have a good heart, Jake Collins. I felt it in your blood. That is why I will fight for you and your people. Even if it means standing against my own government. You saved me. Now I will try to save you. She walked to the door. Rest tonight. Tomorrow will be difficult. You will meet the most powerful beings in the galaxy. They will decide the fate of Earth. I hope you are ready. The door closed behind her. Jake was alone. He looked out the window at the Aliensky. 2 moons hung in the darkness. Stars he had never seen sparkled overhead. Somewhere out there was Earth. Home, everyone he had ever known. They had no idea what was coming. No idea that their entire future might be decided by what happened in the next few days. Jake closed his eyes. He had been a soldier once, a medic. He had faced death before. But this was different. This was not just his life on the line. This was everyone, every human being on Earth. The weight of it pressed down on him like a mountain. He would not sleep tonight. Instead, he would think. He would plan. He would figure out what to say to a council of ancient aliens who held the power to save or destroy humanity. One cargo hauler from Earth against the most powerful empire in the galaxy. The odds were not good, but Jake had never been one to give up without a fight. The council chamber was massive. Jake had seen big buildings before, but nothing like this. The ceiling was so high he could barely see it. The walls seemed to be made of crystal that changed colors, blue to purple to green. The light came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Lyra walked beside him. She wore a formal gown now, white with silver thread. Her hair was braided with gems that caught the light. She looked like a princess from a fairy tale, but her face was serious, worried. "Remember what I told you," she whispered. "Speak with respect, but do not show fear. They respect strength. Show weakness and they will use it against you." Jake nodded. He wore clothes the Valorn had given him. They fit well, but felt strange. Everything here felt strange. He missed his ship. He missed his boring cargo routes. He missed simple problems like broken engines and late deliveries. The council sat in a circle around a raised platform. There were 12 of them. Each one wore robes in different colors. Their faces were hard to read. They looked at Jake like scientists studying a bug under glass. Cold, curious, calculating. One council member sat higher than the others. His robe was pure white. His hair was long and black. His eyes held more stars than Lyra.
Yes, this had to be the Emperor.
Lyra, as father, the Emperor. His voice filled the chamber. It was deep and powerful. "You are Jake Collins, human. From the planet you call Earth, you saved my daughter, Slife. For that, you have my gratitude. But your action has created a problem. A very large problem." Jake stepped forward. His heart was beating fast, but he kept his voice steady. "I did what any decent person would do. I saw someone dying and I tried to help. I did not know what it would mean. But I would not change my decision." A council member in red robes spoke up. "Noble words. But nobility does not change facts. Your species possesses something we desperately need, something that could save our entire civilization. Can you understand what that means to us?" "I understand survival," Jake said. "I was a soldier. I have seen what people do when they are desperate, and when they think they have no other choice. But I also know that some lines should never be crossed." Another council member, this one in black robes, leaned forward. His name was Kyle. Jake could tell he was dangerous just by looking at him. "And what lines are those, human? The line that separates my people from extinction. Is that a line you think we should respect?" "The line that separates people from property," Jake said. "You are talking about using humans, taking our blood. Maybe not by force at first. Maybe you would start with offers. Money, technology, bribes to get what you want. But what happens when that is not enough? What happens when desperate people decide they need to take instead of ask?" Kale. Eyes flashed with anger. "You presume much for a primitive species. You have barely left your own solar system. You have no idea of the power we command. If we chose to take what we need, your people could not stop us, father." Lyra stepped forward. Her voice was sharp. "Lord Kale speaks out of turn. This council was called to find a solution, not to threaten our guest." The Emperor raised his hand. Both Kale and Lyra fell silent. He looked at Jake for a long moment. "Let us speak plainly, human. Yes, we could take what we need. But that is not the Valorn way. We are not conquerors. We have built alliances with hundreds of species. We have shared our knowledge and technology. We have protected worlds from destruction. We are not monsters." "Then treat us like equals," Jake said. "Not resources. Not cattle. Not a solution to your problems. Treat us like people who deserve respect and choice." A council member in green spoke. Her voice was old and tired. "Choice is a luxury, young human. When a species faces extinction, choice becomes meaningless. We will do whatever we must to survive. That is not evil. That is nature." "Then you are no different from any other predator," Jake said. "Survival at any cost. Take what you need. Destroy what gets in your way. I thought you were better than that. I thought a species that has lived for millions of years would have learned something about the value of life. All life." The chamber went silent. Jake had just insulted the most powerful beings in the galaxy. He saw Lyra close her eyes, but he would not take it back. If they were going to judge humanity, he would judge them right back. The Emperor stood up. When he spoke, his voice was cold. "You have courage, Jake Collins. Foolish courage, perhaps, but courage nonetheless. You speak of things you do not understand. You have lived for what, 30 years? I have lived for 10,000. I have seen species rise and fall. I have watched civilizations burn. Do not presume to lecture me about the value of life. Jake met his gaze. Then act like someone who has learned from 10,000 years. Show me that your long life has taught you wisdom, not just power, the Emperor. His expression changed. Was that surprise, respect? Jake could not tell. The alien sat back down. Very well, human. You want to be treated as equals. Then prove you are worthy of it. Tell me, what would you offer? What deal would you make? Jake took a deep breath. This was it, his one chance. A partnership. Humans would volunteer to donate blood, like we do on Earth already. We donate to help each other. We could do the same for you. In exchange, you share your technology, your knowledge. Help us grow. Help us become a species that can stand beside you, not beneath you. Kale laughed. It was a harsh sound. Volunteer. You think your people would give their blood out of kindness. They will want payment. They will demand more and more. They will hold us hostage, maybe some will, Jake admitted. Humans are not perfect. We have greedy people, selfish people. But we also have good people. People who help others. People who donate blood to save strangers they will never meet. Give us a chance to show you who we are. Give us a chance to surprise you. The council members looked at each other. Jake could see them thinking, calculating, weighing options. His proposal was risky for both sides. But maybe that was good. Maybe a deal where both sides took risks was better than one where only humans lost. The Emperor turned to Lyra. What is your opinion, daughter? You know this human better than any of us. You carry his blood in your veins. Can his species be trusted? Lyra looked at Jake. Her eyes were soft. I believe they can, Father. Jake saved me when he had no reason to, when it put him in danger. He asked for nothing in return. That speaks to the character of his people. They are young, imperfect, but they have something we have lost. Heart, compassion, the ability to care about others even at cost to themselves. Heart does not save civilizations, Kyle said. Power does. Resources do. We should take what we need and leave these humans to their primitive world. And what would that make us? The Green Council member asked quietly. We have always prided ourselves on being better than conquerors, better than tyrants. If we enslave this species, what are we? What do we become? Survivors, Kale said. Monsters, another council member said. We become monsters. The Emperor raised his hand again. Enough, I will make a decision, but not today. Jake Collins, you will remain here as our guest. We will study your proposal. We will debate. When we have decided, you will be the first to know. Until then, my daughter will be responsible for you, Jake wanted to argue. Wanted to demand an answer now. But Lyra touched his arm, a warning. He nodded. Thank you, Emperor. I hope you choose wisely. For both our peoples, the Emperor. Sighs were unreadable. So do I, human. So do I. Lyra led Jake out of the chamber. As the doors closed behind them, she let out a breath. That was dangerous. You should not have challenged Kale like that. He is powerful, ruthless. He will not forget this. I know, Jake said, but I meant what I said. If your people are going to judge us, they need to see that we will not just roll over, that we have dignity, pride, rights. Lyra smiled. It was a real smile this time. You are either very brave or very stupid. I have not decided which yet, but I am glad you are on our side. Come. I want to show you something while we wait for the council's decision. What is it? Jake asked. The truth, Lyra said. About what is really at stake. About what will happen if we cannot find a solution. You think you understand our situation, but you do not. Not really. Let me show you why even good people might do terrible things. Let me show you what desperation looks like. Lyra took Jake to a place she called the Hall of Memory. It was a long corridor lined with screens. Each screen showed images. People. Valorn people from throughout history. These are our ancestors, Lyra said. Going back thousands of years. Watch. She touched a control and the screens came to life. The images moved. Jake saw Valorn people doing amazing things. One lifted a boulder with just a thought. Another healed a wounded animal with a touch. A third created light from nothing, shaping it into beautiful patterns. This is what we were, Lyra said. This is what we could do when our essence was strong. We were like gods. We could shape matter with our minds. We could live for hundreds of thousands of years. We could do things your science would call impossible. Jake watched in wonder. The power on display was incredible. What happened? Hesked. Lyra moved to a different section. The screens here showed Valorn people who looked weaker. Their glow was dimmer. They struggled to do things the earlier ones did easily. We do not know for certain. Some say it is evolution, our bodies adapting to peace and comfort. Others say it is a genetic disease, a flaw that crept into our DNA. Whatever the cause, each generation produces less essence than the one before. She stopped at the last screen. It showed a Valorn child. The child barely glowed at all. This was my nephew. He died last year. He was only 50 years old. A baby by your standards. His body could not produce enough essence to sustain itself. He simply faded away. Jake saw tears in Lyra's eyes. He had not known aliens could cry. "I'm sorry," he said. "He is not the only one," Lyra said. "Hundreds of children die each year now. In my grandmother's time it was only a few. In my great-grandmother's time it was rare. The decline is accelerating. Within my lifetime it will become an epidemic. Within a few generations we will not be able to have children at all." Jake understood now. This was not just about a dying species. This was about watching your children die, about knowing your entire civilization had an expiration date. No wonder some Valorn were willing to do anything to survive. "But there is more," Lyra said. "Follow me." She led him to a laboratory. Scientists worked at stations filled with equipment Jake did not recognize. They looked up when Lyra entered. They bowed. One scientist, an older female with gray hair, approached them. "Princess," the scientist said. "Is this the human?" "Yes," Lyra said. "Jake, this is Dr. Mira. She has been studying your blood. Show him what you found." Dr. Mira led them to a screen. It showed complex diagrams that made Jake's head hurt. "Your blood is remarkable, human, not just because it contains essence, but because of how it contains it. In Valorn blood, essence is fragile. It breaks down easily. But in your blood it is stable, strong. It lasts much longer." She pulled up more images. "We tested it. A single transfusion of your blood can sustain a Valorn for months, maybe longer. We also found that repeated transfusions seem to help our bodies produce more of their own essence. It is like your blood teaches ours how to work properly again." "So I am a cure," Jake said slowly. "Not just a temporary fix." "Potentially, yes," Dr. Mira said. "If we could provide regular transfusions to our population, we might be able to reverse the decline. We might be able to save our species." "How many humans would you need?" Jake asked. "How much blood?" The doctor hesitated. "That depends on many factors. Our population is 50 billion. If each person needs a transfusion once per year, and each human can donate safely once every 3 months. She did calculations on her screen. We would need approximately 5 billion human donors, working in rotation. Jake felt like he had been punched. Earth's population was only 9 billion. More than half would need to become donors. That was not partnership. That was dependence. Earth would become a blood farm for an alien empire. "You see the problem?" Lyra said quietly. "Even if we wanted to do this ethically, the numbers are difficult. We would need more than half your population to participate. That is asking a lot." "That is asking too much," Jake said. "You would be asking humans to dedicate their lives to keeping you alive. What about our own goals? Our own dreams? Would we just become blood donors? Nothing more." "That is why some argue we should not ask," Dr. Mira said. "That we should take. Control your planet. Make it mandatory. It would be more efficient." "You mean enslave us?" Jake said. The doctor looked away. "Words matter less than reality. Call it what you will. Their salt would be the same. Your people would donate blood. Our people would live." Jake wanted to yell, to argue. But what could he say? The doctor was just stating facts. Cold, horrible facts. The Valorn needed blood to survive. Humans had that blood. Simple math said slavery was the most efficient solution. But Lyra had brought him here for a reason. She wanted him to understand, not just the need but the temptation. The easy answer that would save her people at the cost of his. There has to be another way, Jake said. Something we are not seeing. We have looked, Dr. Mira said. For centuries we have searched. We have tried to synthesize essence artificially. We have tried gene therapy. We have tried everything our science can think of. Nothing works. Only natural essence sustains us, and only 2 species in the entire galaxy produce it. Yours and ours. Before Jake could respond, alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed. Dr. Mira ran to a console. What is happening? Lyra demanded. Someone has breached the royal sector. A guard's voice came over the speaker. Multiple attackers. They are heading toward the palace. Lyra grabbed Jake's arm. We need to go. Now. What is going on? Jake asked as they ran through the corridors. A coup, Lyra said. It must be Kale. He is not waiting for the council's decision. He is taking action himself. They burst into a large room. Guards in armor surrounded them immediately. An officer approached Lyra. Princess, you need to evacuate. The attackers are trying to reach the Emperor, and they are looking for the human. Jake felt cold. They want me. Why? The officer looked grim. Intelligence suggests they plan to capture you, extract your blood, use it to create a genetic map. With that information, they could locate Earth and begin harvesting operations immediately. Lyra's face went pale. They would turn your entire planet into a blood farm, without the Council's approval, without any restraint or ethics. It would be genocide. Explosions sounded in the distance. The building shook. We are running out of time, the officer said. Princess, you must go. Take the human to the escape ships. No, Lyra said. I am not running. I am going to stop this. Jake, stay here with the guards. They will protect you. Wait, Jake said. What are you going to do? Lyra smiled. It was not a happy smile. Show them what your blood has made me capable of. Kale thinks he is strong. Let me prove him wrong. She turned and ran toward the sound of fighting. Jake tried to follow, but the guards held him back. Let me go, he shouted. We cannot, human, the officer said. You are too valuable. If Kale's forces capture you, it is over. For your people and ours. Jake watched Lyra disappear around a corner. She was going to fight. Maybe die. Because of him. Because she was trying to protect him and his people. He had saved her life on a damaged ship. Now she was risking her life to save his entire world. The explosions were getting closer. Jake could hear weapons firing, people shouting. The coup was happening now. And somewhere in the chaos, Princess Lyra was fighting to stop it. Fighting to give humanity a chance at a fair deal instead of slavery. All Jake could do was wait, and hope that his blood had made her strong enough to win. The fighting lasted for hours. Jake stayed with the guards in a secure room deep inside the palace. He listened to the reports coming over their communication devices. Kale's forces had seized the outer sections. They were pushing toward the throne room, but they were being held back. Someone was stopping them. It was Lyra. The reports described her like she was a force of nature. She moved faster than anyone could follow. She threw Kyle and my soldiers aside without touching them. She created barriers of pure energy that stopped their weapons. Jake's ADU's blood had not just healed her. It had transformed her into something powerful. Finally, the alarm stopped. The red lights turned off. A voice came over the speakers. The coup has been stopped. All hostile forces have been captured or neutralized. Princess Lyra is requesting Jake Collins be brought to the throne room. Jake followed the guards through corridors marked by battle. Scorch marks on the walls, damaged equipment, signs of the violence that had swept through the palace. When they reached the throne room, Jake saw the full council assembled. The Emperor sat on his throne, and at the center of it all stood Lyra. She looked tired but unharmed. Her clothes were torn. Her hair had come loose from its braids, but her eyes burned bright, brighter than Jake had ever seen them. She saw him and smiled. Beside her, on his knees with energy bonds around his wrists, was Lord Kale. His face was twisted with rage. You have doomed us all, he spat at Lyra. You choose this primitive over your own people. You are a traitor. Lyra looked down at him. Her voice was cold. I choose what is right. You would have enslaved an entire species, turned them into cattle. That is not survival. That is evil. We are better than that. We must be better than that. The Emperor stood. His voice filled the chamber. Lord Kale, you have betrayed the council. You have attacked the royal family. You have attempted to commit genocide against a newly discovered species. For these crimes, you are stripped of your title and position. You will be imprisoned for the remainder of your life. Guards dragged Kale away. He was still shouting, still cursing, but nobody listened anymore. When he was gone, the Emperor turned to Jake. Your presence has caused quite a disruption in our society, human, but you have also revealed truths we needed to face. My daughter has shown me something important today. What is that? Jake asked. That strength is not just power, the Emperor said. It is also character, principle, the ability to do what is right even when what is easy beckons. My daughter could have stood aside. Let Kale succeed. But she chose to fight for your people even though they are strangers to her. That is true strength. He looked at the assembled council. We have made our decision. Jake Collins, we accept your proposal. We will form an alliance with humanity, a partnership of equals. We will not force your people to donate blood. We will ask. We will offer fair compensation, technology, knowledge, protection, but the choice will be theirs. Jake felt relief wash over him. Thank you. You will not regret this. The Emperor held up a hand. But understand this. If your people refuse, if they choose not to help, we will accept that decision. We will not threaten. We will not coerce. But we will also withdraw our offer of alliance. Your species will be left to develop on its own. We will not interfere. But we will also not help. Is that clear? Jake nodded. That is fair. Give us the chance to make our own choice. That is all, Whisk. The Emperor looked at Lyra. My daughter will accompany you back to Earth. She will be our ambassador. She will present our proposal to your governments, and she will ensure that both sides honor the agreement. Lyra bowed. I accept this honor, Father. The Emperor smiled. It was a small, sad smile. You have changed, daughter. Your blood now carries the essence of this human, as compassion. It has made you stronger than I ever was. Perhaps that is what we needed. Not just his blood, but his spirit. Go. Show our people and his what true partnership looks like. 3 days later, Jake stood on the bridge of a Valorn ship. Lyra was beside him. They were approaching Earth. Jake could see the blue and green planet growing larger on the screen. Home. He had wondered if he would ever see it again. Are you nervous? Lyra asked, terrified, Jake admitted. I have to convince Earth's leaders to form an alliance with aliens, to donate blood to save a species most people do not even know exists. They are going to think I am crazy. Lyra smiled. Then we will be crazy together. I am asking my people to trust a species that has barely left its own solar system, to treat them as equals when by all measures we are more advanced. That seems just as crazy, but it is the right kind of crazy, Jake said. Yes, Lyra agreed. It is. They landed near the United Nations building in New York. Jake had sent messages ahead. The governments were waiting. They had seen the alien ship. They knew something big was coming, but nobody was prepared for the truth. The meeting was held in the main assembly hall. Leaders from every nation sat in the seats. Jake and Lyra stood at the podium. Jake spoke first. He told them everything. About the distress signal, about saving Lyra, about human blood containing something the aliens needed to survive, about the danger they had been in, about the choice the Valorn were offering. When he finished, the hall erupted. People shouted questions. Some were angry, some were scared, some were excited. Jake let them talk, let them argue. This was what humans did. They debated. They fought with words. It was messy, but it was also beautiful. Finally, one leader stood up. She was the prime minister of a large nation. What guarantees do we have? What stops them from just taking what they want once well at them get close? Lyra stepped forward. Nothing stops us. We have the power to take, but we choose not to. That is the guarantee, our honor, our commitment to doing what is right. If that is not enough for you, then we will leave. We will find another way to survive. Or we will die, but we will not become monsters. The hall went quiet. Another leader spoke. What do we get in return? You mentioned technology. Jake pulled out a data device. The Valorn had given him a list. Clean energy that would end dependence on fossil fuels, medical technology that could cure diseases, space travel systems that would let humans explore the stars, agricultural methods that could end hunger. All of it freely shared, all of it in exchange for voluntary blood donations on a rotating basis. The leaders looked at each other. Jake could see them thinking. Weighing options. This was a decision that would change human history forever. Accept and Earth would enter a new age. Decline and humanity would be alone in the universe. Both paths had risks. A vote was called. It took hours. Some nations voted yes immediately. Others debated internally. But slowly, one by one, they agreed. Not everyone. Some nations refused. Some were suspicious. But enough said yes. Enough chose partnership over isolation. When the final tally came in, Jake felt tears in his eyes. Earth had voted to join the galaxy, to help another species survive. Not because they had to, but because they chose to. Lyra touched his hand. You did it. You saved both our worlds. We did it, Jake corrected. Together. The months that followed were chaos. Blood donation centers were built. Valorn technology began arriving. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers. There were problems, misunderstandings, people who refused to participate, groups who protested the alliance. But slowly things started working. Jake became humanity's liaison to the Valorn. Lyra stayed on Earth as their ambassador. They worked together every day, planning, solving problems, building something new. One evening, they stood on a balcony overlooking the city. Lights sparkled below, ships moved through the sky. Some were human, some were Valorn, working together, living together. Do you ever regret it? Lyra asked, answering that distress signal. Everything that came after. Jake thought about it. His life would never be simple again. He would never go back to hauling cargo and watching the stars pass by, but he had helped create something important. A bridge between two worlds. A partnership built on mutual respect and compassion. Not for a second, he said. You, Lyra smiled. Her eyes sparkled with stars. No, your blood saved my life, but your kindness saved my soul. You reminded my people what we had forgotten. That power without compassion is empty. That survival means nothing if we lose our principles to achieve it. They stood together in comfortable silence. Two beings from different worlds, connected by blood and by choice. Below them, humans and Valorn worked side by side, building a future neither species could have imagined. Jake had poured his blood to save an alien princess. What happened next had astonished everyone. Not because of the power it gave, not because of the technology it brought, but because it proved something important. That compassion was not weakness. That helping others was not foolish. That even in a vast, uncaring universe, small acts of kindness could change everything. One man had saved one life, and in doing so he had saved two worlds. That was the real miracle, not the blood, not the compatibility, but the choice to help when help was needed, the decision to treat strangers as friends, the courage to believe that doing the right thing mattered. Jake looked up at the night sky. Somewhere out there, Valorn children were growing up stronger because humans had chosen to help. And somewhere down here, human children were learning from Valorn teachers, both species growing, both species learning, both species better together than they ever could have been apart. It was not perfect. There were still problems to solve, challenges to face, but they